Welcome to this week's episode review of the Grand Tour Series 3. Apologies for the late upload. As you may be aware, this review contains spoilers for this week's episode. So please, if you have not watched this week's episode of the Grand Tour, please head to Amazon Prime Video now. Watch it, come back here and press play. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's review of the Grand Tour Series 3, Episode 5, and Lamborghini Urus. In this week's review, the Grand Tour heads to Sweden to test out the brand new Lamborghini Urus. Also in this week's show, Richard Hammond pays tribute to racing driver Jim Clark in the Lotus 25, and James May tests out the brand new Alpine A110 in a rare visit to the Eboladrome. Now then, this week's review kicks off with a review of the brand new Lamborghini Urus. Of course, the Grand Tour this week is in Sweden, testing out the brand new Urus, and Jeremy Clarkson has brought along Grand Tour's racing driver Abby Eaton. The race, of course, doesn't go as Jeremy Clarkson has planned, but in the end he comes to his conclusion that the Lamborghini Urus may not be good on snow, but it is well able to keep up with a Porsche 911 GT3 RS, of which I found very interesting, yet slightly out of touch this week on the Grand Tour. I like the car, obviously. I also found it a little bit humorous as well, as you'll see when you watch the episode. Also in this episode, James May tests the brand new Alpine A110. This review starts off quite negatively with, James May's comments on how the engine is in the boot instead of... It's in the middle of the car basically. It's a mid-engine car. It's built by Renault, and it copies slightly the original version of the Alpine, but in the end his review turns out to be quite positive, and he then goes off and buys one. Moving on now to quite the highlight for me of this episode, which is the tribute that Richard Hammond paid to legendary racing driver Jim Clark. This episode focuses on his achievements as a racing driver. It mainly focuses, this was the big main piece of the episode basically, and I quite like when the Grand Tour or Top Gear Grand Tour goes off and does these massive history lessons. We saw it in, I think it was Series 2, when Jeremy Clarkson made the short film about Audi versus Lancia in the rally driving stages. We saw it in Series 1 when James May made his film on I think it was a Ferrari GT40 in Series 1 Episode 6. And I do quite like when they go off and they make these short films around somebody or something historic. In this case, this week it was Jim Clark, the Lotus 25 racing driver who raced against in the Nuremberg in America, and surprisingly in percentage terms has more Grand Slams apart from Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, and the main racing drivers that we know today. From this documentary, the history short video thing, the history lesson, we saw that Jim Clark used Ayrton Senna as his inspiration. We've had interviews from the team mechanic, his teammates, and I think the original Lotus 25 designer. I'm not sure, but it's all there in the episode, so when you have time you can go and watch it. I watched this episode I think maybe twice, there yesterday and on Friday, so it was very engaging, I have to say. I will of course leave articles to how you can win or how you can get hold of a limited edition Lotus 25 in the description, which is down there somewhere, and I will leave video clips to the Lotus 25 and this week's Grand Tour trailer up in the info cards, available to you at some point during this video. Next week I will be giving you an exclusive preview to the Grand Tour episode 6 of series 3. This week I think they're in China, of which the episode title will be revealed very soon. So my review this week gets a 9 out of 10. See you next week. Bye bye.